Hi Algebra 1, today we're going to talk about how to graph quadratics in standard form. You've got some steps here. The first thing we need you to do is find the axis of symmetry using negative b over 2a. Then we're going to figure out what the vertex is. That goes in the middle of our table, and then we'll figure out the rest of the table using a graphing calculator, and then plot the points and connect them. That'll make your parabola or your quadratic function. So we're on to our first example. F of x equals x squared, and we are going to rewrite this so it has three terms. I'm going to zoom in. F of x can be written as 1x squared plus 0x plus 0. That means that our a term is 1, our b term is 0, and our c term is 0. We need to find the axis of symmetry by using x equals negative b over 2a. That's going to be negative 0 over 2 times 1. 0 divided by anything is 0, so the x value of the vertex is 0. We're going to take that number and put it in the middle of our table, right there. Let's answer some more information before we really get going here. We know since the a value is positive, it should open up, making it have a minimum for the vertex. The axis of symmetry we already know is x equals 0. Okay, now we need to find the vertex. I'm going to teach you how to do this on the graphing calculator. So we're going to head back over to Desmos. So if you don't have your laptop, get it out. And I need you to be on www.desmos.com. We're going to click where it says Start Graphing. We're going to type in our function, y equals x squared. You can put f of x, but you don't really need to. Now, you have what your parabola should look like. It opens up, and the vertex has a minimum. To get the table, we're going to click this settings box here. And then we want to select the table. So click where it says table, and it actually pulls up the table. Now you got to look at this for me. We need this to happen. Do you see how it's 4, 1, 0, 1, 4? It has to make a mirror image, and that's because of the points that you see right here. They're symmetrical. So if in your table it does not make a mirror image, then something is wrong. So we want to go ahead and use this table, copy that table down on our notes. Will you go ahead and do that now? And we know this table is right because the vertex is in the middle and it's symmetrical. So you should have your table now. We know the y value of the vertex is 0, so the vertex is at 0, 0. We're going to go ahead and graph this table as 5 points. So negative 2, 4, negative 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 4. And whenever you're done, it should match what it looked like on Desmos. Please make sure your graph has arrows. Now let's do the domain. Domain goes from left to right. So because it has arrows and never stops from left to right, we say that the domain is all real numbers. The range is from lowest to highest. So the range is y values at 0 and up. So it'll be y is greater than or equal to 0, because it starts, if you look, it starts right here at 0 and then goes up. So y-intercept, last thing, is 0, 0. Okay, now let's talk about when is this thing increasing and when is it decreasing. It's increasing when the parabola is going up from left to right, and it's decreasing when it goes down. So you see a picture of that over here. It's decreasing going down in this section right here, and it's increasing in this section. So we're going to phrase this in terms of x, and if you have your axis of symmetry going through the middle here, which I'll draw in with green, everything to the left is decreasing, everything to the right is increasing. So it is increasing when x is greater than 0, and it's decreasing when x is on the left side, less than 0. Moving on to the next one. It already has 3 terms, but we do want to remember that there is a -1 in front of this a term. So that means that the a term is -1, the b term is -8, and the c term is -17. We need to start by finding the axis of symmetry, which is our x value of our vertex. We're going to use x equals -b over 2a. So x equals negative, and since we are going to negate the b term, it was -8, but now we're going to have +8 over 2 times -1, right? So we're doing 8 divided by -2, which is -4. So that is our x value of our vertex right here. We're going to take that x value and put it in the middle of our table. And in a second, we need to get the rest of our table. Let's fill in some key information first. We know since the a value is negative that it's going to be a sad parabola and open down, meaning that the vertex would be a maximum. It'll be at the top. The axis of symmetry we already know is x equals -4. And here in a second, we're going to go back to Desmos and get the rest of our table so we know what the vertex is. Now, before we do that, on our table, because we want things to be symmetrical, we're going to choose the values around -4. So that would be -5, -6, -3, -2. That's different than when we did exponential functions and we always did -2 to +2. We want to base it around what is in the middle and then mirror that around it. Okay, we're going to head over to Desmos now. So we're going to type in y equals -x² minus 8x minus 17. This is what it should look like when we're done. But right now we want to get the table. So remember to do that. We click the settings button and then we click table. Now if you look here, this table has a bit of an issue. Look at the y values. They are not mirror imaging. So we need it to be the same for -1 for here and here, and then here and here. We already wrote down the values we want. I'm going to put -4 in the middle, then -5. This is just like on your pink calculator at school, where you have to type in the values you want. We're telling the table what to put in, because we know if we put these values in, it's going to make a mirror image on either side of the vertex. Now look at it. This is what we want, -5 and -2 on both sides. Great. Write that table down on your notes, please. This is what your table looks like. The vertex we know now is -4, 1. So we already had the x value, but now we know the y value is -1 because our table told us that. Let's go ahead and graph these 5 points. If you would go ahead and pause and do that now. Okay, there are my 5 points, and we want to go ahead and make sure we connect them. It's going to look something like that. Hopefully yours looks prettier than mine. Let's get the domain. Domain is the x values from left to right. It never stops. So your domain is all real numbers. The range, we want to look at where is it starting vertically and go from there. So it starts at -1 and then goes down. So that means its y values at -1 and lower. So it is for the range we have y less than or equal to -1. The y-intercept is your c value here, -17. And you could go back to Desmos and look. You'll see that the y-intercept is -17 if you scroll down the graph. Increasing and decreasing, let's go ahead and draw in our axis of symmetry to help us. On the left side, it's going up from left to right, and then it goes down. So it's increasing on the left, which is when x is less than -4. It's increasing on the right. Sorry, it's decreasing on the right when x is greater than -4. Last one, h of x, only has 2 terms. You need to get it to have 3 terms. So h of x already has the a term. We want to give it a b term, so it's going to be 0x and then -8. Our a is 2, our b is 0, and our c is -8. Okay, step 1, find your axis of symmetry so you know what goes in the middle of your table. Negative b over 2a would be -0 over 2 times 2. 0 divided by anything is 0. So in the middle of our table for the x value, we'll put 0. Let's write down some key information. The a value is positive, so it's going to open up, meaning that it will have a minimum for the vertex. We already know our axis of symmetry. It's this value here, x equals 0. Let's write that down. And now we're going to go to Desmos to use the table to find the rest of it. But before we do that, let's make sure we know what x values we want. We want the x values surrounding 0. So that'd be -1, -2, 1, and 2. Whatever goes in the middle is what determines what you put for the x values. Okay, let's go ahead and get the rest. Go to Desmos. If you have in the old function, delete it out and type in the new one. Y equals 2x squared -8. We want the table, click on settings, and then click on the table. Okay, double check before you just go writing it down. Do the y values mirror? Yes, they do. -8, -6 on both sides, and then 0 on both sides. That's what we want. Write that down on your notes, please. Go ahead and plot your 5 points from your table now. Your parabola is going to look something like this. We know the vertex is the minimum, and it's at 0, -8. The domain from left to right, you guessed it, all real numbers again, because it doesn't stop when it goes from left to right. The range starts at -8 and then goes up. So it's the y values at -8 and higher. That's going to be y values greater than or equal to -8. Your y-intercept, hopefully you see right here, is -8. It's also your c value. So y-intercept is 0, -8. Okay, draw on your axis of symmetry to help you with the increasing, decreasing part. On this side, from left to right, it goes down and then up. You can think of it kind of like a roller coaster. So on the right side is where it's increasing and going up. That's at x is greater than 0. And on the left side, it's going down. So that's your decreasing section, less than 0. Awesome. That's it for graphing. Please make sure when you do your assignment that you're using Desmos to help you get the table. But before you do that, you have to get the axis of symmetry and put that in the middle, because sometimes it'll work out nicely like the one we just did, but other times, just like your pink calculator, you have to tell it what to put in the table. Use Desmos on your assignment. You can flip back and forth between tabs to help you. Thanks.